Stangibelisco here to tell you a little story. I decided to do it as another talking head. That way you can't see my fingers crossed off screen. Of course you can't see them that way when I draw diagrams either, but I thought this would be a lot better than drawing diagrams because then I get to practice telling stories. James Lovelock has come to a bleak conclusion about the end of civilization, and you saw that in a video if you've been following my videos and watching the attached videos in the descriptions. One of them was James Lovelock talking about the melting of the Arctic ice and how the climate change that is occurring right now is perhaps something more than what Gaia can cope with. I beg to differ. Gaia has coped with ice ages in the past, and humanity has also coped, although in reduced numbers, with catastrophic climate events. So the news may not be all that bleak as he paints it in his video about the fearsomely bad scenario. But here's a possible scenario which will defeat, or could defeat, Gaia, humanity, and practically everything else. I have an idea for a fiction story in mind about this kind of an event, but it's an entirely new genre. And it will be written, if I ever get the gall to do it and the energy back and the health back, to be able to do this particular project or orchestrate it. It'll be of a genre and of a sort unlike anything ever done before. I will say no more, for fear I poison the well. Spill the secret. You know, the writer is not supposed to spill his dreams or her dreams in advance, because it's kind of like popping a balloon. It's kind of like reducing the pressure. It's kind of like poisoning the well. But here's the basic scenario that it's based on. In a lot of religions, particularly an event referred to in common religious lore as the Sermon on the Mount by Professor Jesus Christ. Yes, I'm a Christian, but we won't get into that either. He didn't stand up there and say there's an asteroid out there with our number on it, and it's going to smack into the earth someday, and there are going to be volcanoes and earthquakes and all sorts of horrible things will happen, and the sky will go dark, and the fire will fall from the sky, and only a few humans will remain, and a new generation will arise from the remaining survivors. They would have for sure gathered up right then and hauled him off to whatever version of insane asylum they had back in those days. Probably one of the dungeons of Caesar. But in any case, suppose there is an asteroid out there, and on that asteroid is written Homo sapiens. But this is a very unusual asteroid, because it isn't even in the solar system. It lies outside the plane of the ecliptic, the plane defined by the Earth's orbit around the sun. That's where most asteroids are, and we have an increasing effort going on right now in order to find asteroids like that might collide with Earth someday. But Jesus, Professor Jesus Christ, said, we have no clue as to when this thing is going to strike. Meaning, presumably, that if we find one that looks like it's going to hit us, it automatically means that's not the one. But suppose there is one out there with our name on it. And suppose we'll never see it until it actually strikes. Is that possible? Could such an asteroid evade the most advanced detection and astronomical systems we've ever devised? And the answer is obviously yes. This asteroid is not in the plane of the ecliptic, but it's somewhere in the plane of the galaxy, hurtling at speeds unheard of by any asteroid inside of the solar system. Fantastically rapid speed. It's at galactic speed, interstellar speed, and it is speeding toward the sun. Someday that asteroid will make a very near miss to the sun, at such an angle and in such a way that the sun acts as a gravitational slingshot. That asteroid rounds the sun about a quarter of a circle, and then it is in the ecliptic, and it's headed right for planet Earth at an amazing rate of speed, a rate of speed never seen in any asteroid in the solar system itself. It's an outsider. It's the Headless Horseman. It's the Fifth Horseman. This horseman will be blinded, we will be blinded to its existence by the sun, because it will come at us from the direction of the sun. We'll never see it. All of our sensitive apparatus is for naught. And it doesn't have to be very big, because it will be moving so fast. We will not know of its existence until it has actually struck the earth. And the volcanoes and the tsunamis and the earthquakes and the dark sky and the falling fire and all of the prophecies of Professor Jesus and those of other religions as well. Even Native Americans have a story something like this. Almost every human being on earth will die. Almost every one. You will be standing next to your friend. Your friend will die and you will live. It's like a tornado where the refrigerator is standing next to a broom in the corner, and the refrigerator and the whole house are blown away, but the broom somehow is still left standing, all by itself, with nothing supporting it, just like magic. That kind of thing will happen. The Fifth Horseman, the Headless Horseman, the one that Gaia cannot cope with, and the one that 99.99% of humanity will not cope with either. Then there will be very few Homo sapiens remaining in the ashes of a planet. Like a nuclear winter it will be. And those few people will have a choice at that point. Either cooperate with each other and try as hard as they can collectively to survive and succeed and build a new society and a new generation, the next generation, what Professor Jesus referred to as this generation, no, the next generation. He didn't mean a 30-year generation, father to son. He meant this kind of a generation. A new civilization will be born based on new values of cooperation and empathy and harmony with the earth, the way it should be. We don't own any of the earth. We don't own any of the universe. It and they all own us, and we will know it right from the very beginning. Either that will happen or there will be competition. People will struggle and compete and fight against each other for what remains, in which case, within only a few years, maybe even only a few days, there will be zero Homo sapiens remaining on planet Earth. And Gaia, for all intents and purposes, will be gone. Nothing but a cinder will remain, which will eventually evolve into some new planet with new forms of life, but there'll be nothing like humanity. I predict the former scenario will take place. I predict it will take place as a result of the ride of the Fifth Horseman, Ichabod Crane's Headless Horseman, the one we don't know about. But when it gets us, it'll get us good. And I do mean good. Stan Gibilisco signing off, awaiting the thunderstorms that they keep saying are on their way and keep not getting here until they do. So long.